I was dating Dad, he couldn't come on school property. He could not come. He couldn't. He had to meet me on the corner of Church Street because he wasn't Catholic, so he wasn't allowed on the church property.
So how did you two meet?
He was running away from the cops.
Why? Why?
It was Halloween.
What were you doing?
It was Halloween, and me and Chuck Mills and Keith Mills, we were going to walk downtown. So we walking out through there and past this one house, and a bunch of kids was coming out and bragging about how much candy they got, right? So Keith was a few years younger than us. We were 16, me and Chuck. He says, I'm gonna go up there and see if I can get some candy. So we stood back on the sidewalk. And he goes up there and he knocks on the door, trick or treat. You're too old to be trick or treating. He's probably 13. So, Myrtle, call the cops. I don't know what her name was. But okay, the cops are on the way. So Keith come running out. They called the cops on them. So we took off running. We, 4 or 5 blocks to get to the school.
Yeah.
Across the Erie Canal, the big bridge that they had there, and we seen these kids lined up and going into this building next to the church.
It was our school, but it was the hall, like our gym type thing. But it was a part of our school, so he didn't realize it was church.
Oh.
We just know they were going into a party. So we got in line. Looked innocent walking in the line, right? So we got in there, and it cost us a dime to get in. And they
So were the cops really coming, or they just?
No,
Probably
we
not.
never
They were
seen
just
that.
scared.
So and Chuck Mills is who?
Chuck up on the mountain. Oh, okay.
My cousin.
I forget about that.
He joined the army with me.
Okay.
But anyway, what was that?
Standing in line
Donuts.
over
Oh,
there.
to
they
go
had
in
coffee. No, they had donuts,
Donuts and cider.
and apple cider. So we thought, man, for 10 cents, this is gonna be a good party. So we got us a donut and a glass of juice, sit down on the bench. They started playing the music, looked up, and here she come walking across the floor. We watched her. Hey, good looking girls in here.
Well, I knew Chuck.
Well, yeah.
I had met Chuck.
So
You didn't like him?
I didn't like him. He was a playboy even back then. Even when he was 16. He was, right?
nah, Kyle was.
No, Kyle was to all the Mills boys were. Yes, all the
But anyway, she comes walking up, and I looked up at her, and she asked me to dance. I said, I don't know how. I'll teach you. And what's her name? Kathy?
Kathy Alpert. Yeah.
Kathy come over and asked Chuck
Chuck
to
to
dance.
dance, right.
Because it was a girl's choice.
Sadie Hawkins, yeah.
So we went out there and we started dancing to the moments to remember. I didn't know what I was doing. I said, hey, I got my arms around a young girl. We
How
just
old
danced.
were you?
16. She had just turned 16 on the 17th of October. This was what?
31st.
So 2 weeks, 16, 2 weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we danced, and then a few more times we danced again. I even went over and asked her to dance.
Yeah.
Hey? Then I asked her if I could walk her home. Sure. Well, that was a long walk. But anyway, that's what started it.
Yeah, he got lost, and I couldn't remember his name. I had never heard that name before. And that in our neighborhood. Okay, we lived in an Irish neighborhood, so with it, and he lived over in the multi neighborhood wherever. But I lived at our end was Irish. It was all of I don't know, blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks of Irish that we all lived there
Been there for years.
and been there for years. And in the on the corner was our store, our grocery store. They catered to. They were Irish, so they catered to our food and our needs and that. And just down past from where the Irish was the Italians. They had their little store, and I mean you can go into any of the stores.
Yeah.
I get sent down to their store to pick up oysters, because they had the fresh oysters, and they had their store. The Polish people were the next, and they had their stores. There was little neighborhood stores all over the place, and so
Mom and pop stores, what they call them.
yeah, they lived there. The store was attached to their house, and that's the way it was. The Hannigans had the store, and so he knew where I lived, but he couldn't remember who I was. So
And it's
he had-
going on now. That's why I call her babe. And what do you call her babe? Because I can't remember her name. Go ahead.
So what'd you do, Dad?
What'd I do?
when you
Trying to
went
find her.
Oh, the kids playing in the neighborhood. I asked them if they knew a girl down here named Grace. Said, yeah, she lives right there. And I said, what's her last name? It's Rose. So I went to the telephone booth, right next to the store, and looked it up. And give her a call.
And I'm like, who is this? Who are you? Then he said, he walked me home from the day. I said, oh, okay, now I know who you are. And that, so,
You want to see her get upset? Nah, not upset, but I tell people, yeah, I kissed her that first night. You did not.
It was like 3 or 4 dates later that you kissed me.
So what was the second date?
Probably the movies. And
Yeah.
that's when he had to come to the house, and that's when my dad was there, my brothers were all there, came out to meet him,
Shotgun?
well, no, they didn't have the shotgun then, but it was, my dad was there in the den, and then my brothers, each one of them come out to meet him.
One was a little bit taller than the other. They kept
Yeah.
coming out, and I'm thinking, holy mackerels, how big is these people? Then Chuck was the last one to come out. He's a little bit guy.
So
it
he say
was-
anything to you? Like,
No,
they didn't say
no, they
nothing?
went, it just the impression of,
Yeah, you didn't have to.
nice to meet you. And it's like, I will remember you.
And I would go pick her up, and I didn't know Irish and wearing black
Oh,
and
yeah.
orange
Oh,
and what
my
have you.
gosh.
So me and Kyle bought us a jacket,
That was this color.
orange and black. Nice jackets. So I wore it to pick her up.
That's when we lived on Phelps Street.
But her dad.
Oh, no, I seen you coming, remember? And I'm like, get rid of that jacket, get rid of that jacket.
It's supposed to have been green.
It's supposed to be good. Well, the thing is like, the orange were for the British that took over Ireland and took over our land, our family's land, and persecuted them and all.
Protestants.
No, it was not Protestants. Everybody thinks that. It was the British, whether they were Anglo, or I mean, whether they were no British Catholics, but whether they were Lutheran or whatever their religion. It was basically the British people, the Commonwealth, or whatever they called it. It was them. It was their color. That was the color of their flag. Not necessarily. That's a big misconception. Even I thought that's what it was, but it wasn't the Protestants. But the majority of them were Protestants, and that so because my grandma Thompson was a Protestant. And
but
my
you don't wear
grandma-
orange and black
No,
to meet her dad.
not for the
So what's-
Irish.
So what do the colors stand for? The green and the orange?
The green is for the Irish Republic.
Okay.
Catholic.
Catholic.
Orange is
Yes.
generally Protestant or just non-Catholic.
British, yeah, just mainly the British is what that they had it, because there was Protestants that were good people and they had land too. It's just they were and they were Irish, and that same thing happened to them. Their land was taken from them, and that's like when I was over there. We were on the bus one time, and Shelby was there, and I says, "You see those walls that are just scattered around the land in different places? These rocks, that are piled on top of each other, and they're walls." And she said, "Huh." I says, "My ancestors helped to build those. They got 2 cents a day for doing that." And she's, "What for?" She says, I said, "Because they had no work for them, and they had to, according to the British, whatever it is, they had to give them employment. So these rocks don't mean anything. These walls don't mean anything. It was just a means of making them work and giving them 2 cents a day and say, we're taking care of you, we're paying for it," and like that. And my grandmother, talked about that, about how that when that happened, that
Okay, you're getting off
I'm
the subject.
Yeah, okay.
So did he take the jacket off? What happened after?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
I
my
didn't wear it no
my
more.
dad had seen them. He's seen them, but he liked them, so that was good. My dad liked him before I liked him, actually, wasn't it? Yeah, although he told him when we ran away to get married, he told him, he said that I could only come home if you abused me, right? If
And you never went home.
And I never went home. And he told me that. He said that you can't just come running home. That unless he abuses you. And I says, "And what happens if he does?" And he says, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what do you think would happen to you if you abused me?"
So why'd you run away and get married?
Because his father didn't want us to get married. He wanted, when Dad went into the military, he thought it was going to be like Bob. When Bob went in the military, he'd send his paycheck home. And he took all the money. So Bob thought he was saving money.
He hated the military also. He hated being in the Army. Dad signed the papers for him.
Yeah.
Dad signed the papers for Arnold to get married to Henrietta. And that was a disaster over the years, right? So he says, he's not signing the paper for me to get married.
Yeah.
I'd rather see you both dead than married.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time we ran away, we went to the bus depot. We were catching a bus. And then his dad come into the bus depot, raised him holy, and took us, made us get in the car, took us to the police station.
Put my duffel bag in the trunk of the car and
Yeah.
locked it so I couldn't get it. And
Yeah. And then he took us to the police station. We sat, do that one. Oh, okay, yeah.
Which one?
That middle one. It's awfully bright
That's
though.
too bright.
Yeah.
Well, it adjusted.
Just go ahead and turn that one on then. But we sat in the car waiting on him, and we weren't worried. My family knew what was going on,
all the policemen.
and all the policemen in Lockport knew what was going on.
Just, you want to time out and switch places?
Yeah, because this is